Let's go. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. American Scar, you're getting in the chat early. I appreciate you. Remember when we called Alex Jones crazy? Yes. Yes, I do. But let's get right into some of the news and see what's going on. This is the Derek O'Shea Show.
Welcome to the revolution.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show. Let's just start off with some chill beats. How you guys doing? Hope everyone is doing well. We'll just, yeah. We'll see what's going on in the world. See what's going on with you. Start off the show with huge breaking news coming out.
Tonight, live from Ukraine, where Russia...
That we're going to get right into. We're going to see what's going on in the news first, but then I have some clips already loaded up, so I hope you guys sit back, relax, and get in the chat. Tell me how you're doing.
Tried to flee a city near Kyiv. What the group of New York Times journalists caught in the middle told NBC News about the horrific attack, plus the alarming new report that Russia may be recruiting fighters from Syria as Putin continues to try and take control of Ukraine's capital. Another round of peace talks ending with little to no progress. Nearly 2 million refugees have now fled Ukraine, more than half of them children. Ukraine rejecting Russia's offer to evacuate civilians to key cities in Russia and Belarus. Also tonight, hundreds of students from India trapped in eastern Ukraine without access to food and clean water. The students now melting snow and drinking it. What's being done to get them out? The crisis causing record-breaking gas prices. The average cost...
What? Sure. I guess that's the narrative now.
Angeles at $7 a gallon. How the White House is responding tonight. Deadly storm.
How's everyone doing tonight? Get in the chat. Tell me how you're doing. Tell me what your thoughts are on the war and everything, the gas prices, and all that good stuff.
Damaging winds and possible tornadoes. And the Supreme Court declining to review the decision that freed Bill Cosby from prison. Is this the end of his legal battles? Top story starts right now.
Putin. This is way too intense. Let's see what else is going on. Oh yeah, this is a live.
Because you're not scared. Ian Pannell leads us off once again tonight from Kyiv, and a warning that some viewers may find the images you're about to see in Ian's piece disturbing.
Tonight, across Ukraine, civilians are being driven from their homes by the tens of thousands. After efforts to establish temporary ceasefires were repeatedly broken by Russia, the Kremlin now claiming another one will come into force tomorrow in a number of cities. A previous corridor offered by Russia only allowing safe passage onto its own territory and that of its ally Belarus, which Ukraine calls unacceptable. So far, Russia's ceasefires set up for people to leave have been nothing of the sort. In Irpin, about 16 miles northwest of Kyiv, terrifying video shows civilians trying to escape when a mortar shell explodes. Soldiers bravely risking their own lives to give first aid.
Mika, what up? On my way to get gas now. I'm gonna listen to on the road. Hey, appreciate you. Haven't had much time to follow up on Ukraine, and I refuse all the mainstream. I know. So everything I have loaded up is some mainstream, some independent stuff, but let's fight through that together because it's almost impossible not to have that, you know? It's like we don't have much going on the ground, and especially from the mainstream media, corporate media, it's like everyone's just in a hotel room. So I'm just trying to sift through it and find out together. Good luck on gas. Tell me what you pay for gas, too. I'm curious. I need to get gas probably this week.
Hundreds.
Should have got gas 2 days ago.
To get out of the town, but they've also come under fire. Some of them have been killed today just trying to get out and get safe. Tatiana Bogatova is a pediatrician from the town. She had to run for miles through the night to escape with 18-month-old Varvara. The Russians were there in their tanks, she says. They fired mortar shells into people's yards. I couldn't stay there with a child. Across the country, Russia's stepping up its attacks, laying siege to some cities that are now cut off without power or heating. Ukraine's armed forces sharing a video of what they say is a downed Russian jet crashing. Meanwhile, a third round of ceasefire talks was held.
Is was actually a UFO.
Ukraine says small positive movements were made in trying to establish these humanitarian corridors. The Kremlin claims that it could stop the attacks at any moment, but only if Ukraine promises to never join NATO, to recognize Crimea as Russian, and accept the independence of Russian-controlled parts of eastern Ukraine. All have been non-starters for Ukraine. President Biden talked with European leaders today who vowed to continue raising the cost.
I love some of these peace treaty stuff. It's like, and I want you to wipe my butt when I have to poop as well. You will do this?
Costs on Russia, amid discussions about possibly cutting off all Russian oil and gas imports. Also, the Pentagon revealing...
It's like, everything's... Yesterday it was 489. Let's see what it is tonight in New York. I'll let you know in 10 minutes. Cool. I love... Mika with some on-the-ground reporting. Shout out to Mika! I love this. Everything's such a grand gesture these days, and I just get so tired of it. It's like, instead of drilling in America on some of our federal land, and then we're talking about offshore drilling, hey, we're pumping out as much. No. It's just going to make things worse. They don't care. I mean, the more I keep reading about people online, it's just like, Americans need to buckle up for what's about to happen. And people are just so openly welcoming suffering in their life that they think it's not going to affect them at all. It's like, you're going to have cheese on bread at some point, and they're laughing at this, but it's not funny to people that have kids. It's not funny to people that barely make enough to survive. I don't know if you're like me. I'm not rich, so the idea of gas being $4.89 is pretty crippling for my bank account. So, and it's just going to force people to, work from home more. It's going to force people to take bus and transit, which they want, and they want you off. They want you off gas anyways. They've been saying it since day one. I have a clip that I have going to show later of Joe Biden before he's elected saying, I'm going to do everything in my power to get us off a gas. So they don't care. It's always open grand gestures. It's just BS politics, and people don't see it. And it's very unfortunate that most people don't take the time to look at the past to come up with the conclusion of what's going on today.
Today, it ordered an additional 500 U.S. troops to deploy to Europe over the weekend.
We're joined now by Ian Panel in Kyiv. And Ian, I imagine there has been no indication you've seen that the temporary ceasefire Russia claims.
See, what up? Just need to lighten your belts. Yeah, I'd like to tighten it around. Seriously, though. I know. Just lighten your belts. Go ahead, and you might have to go to Goodwill, get you some smaller clothes, and just get over it, man. I mean, you're going to be paying more at the pump, but it's worth it because our administration says this is what virtue signaling is these days. I'm just so tired of corporations I don't know. It's exhausting to be a part of and exhausting to look. And I'm sick of corporations feeling like they need to make statements about everything going on in the world, and they're jumping in on the fight to make things worse for, even Russian citizens who obviously they have nothing, they're no part in this, and they're just like, oh, we'll cripple them and cripple the American people at the same time, but it's for a moral reason because we're the immoral authorities of the day. You don't have pastors anymore, you have corporations that tell you how to think and what to believe.
Claims will begin tomorrow will be any different than failed attempts in the past few days?
No, I think we're right to be sceptical, and that's certainly the view from the ground. I mean, don't forget that there was, again, one of these temporary ceasefires, one of these supposed humanitarian corridors established in Mariupol over the weekend. Almost immediately, the ceasefire was breached by Russian forces, and civilians came under attack. And here's the other problem with the corridor.
What is everyone's thoughts on the whole civilians coming on attack? I know that a lot of these civilians are carrying ammo, are carrying weapons because, they don't have all the means to fight, but they want to fight. And so it's messed up that it's completely horrendous that Russians are doing that and shooting citizens. But at the same light, too, I mean, if you got to think of both sides, are these people carrying guns and they're just reporting it as citizens? I just don't know what's going on, and I don't know what to believe. It's just, sometimes I'm like, if something's too on the nose, it makes me question it, and maybe that's a bad place to be, and I need to be okay with something being on the nose. It's just this, corporate media has done everything in their power to dismiss any kind of authority they have in my life to think through problems correctly. I don't know about you.
Corridors that are now being proposed by Russia, they say there's going to be ceasefires on Tuesday morning here, is that they're saying that the passage, the safe passage, it doesn't lead into Ukraine to the west, it doesn't lead towards Poland and Europe. It leads directly either into Russia or into Belarus, which of course is Russia's ally. So just imagine you're leaving your home because you've been under bombardment, you're running for your lives, and the Russians are expecting people to run into their arms. I mean, apart from the cynicism of that, the Ukrainian government saying that that is clearly unacceptable.
And Ian, you also had the chance to visit Irpin this weekend, one of those towns close to Kyiv that has just been devastated. What struck you the most about what you saw there?
You know what really shocked me the most is the last time I saw people look like that, look that scared.
I love his little bulletproof vest with matching his little jacket. Blends right in.
Look that bedraggled. People who'd gone to extraordinary lengths to just escape for their lives was in Mosul, in Iraq. When the battle was on to try and take the city from ISIS. And it was the same look in people's eyes, that sheer terror that they've literally been to hell and back, and even when they get out, they don't know where is safe, they don't know where they're going to.
I feel like it should be mandatory. If you're a wartime reporter, your hair shouldn't look that good. Am I alone in this? I mean, come on.
Go. Yeah, there was one young mum, which is featured in our report. And she's a pediatrician in this town. You know, she has this 18-month-old toddler. And for anyone out there with kids, you know how difficult it is just to keep toddlers minded and safe inside your own home. She had to run through the night with a group of people, passing a toddler from person to person through the night just to reach the edge of Irpin. And that's what so many people are going through right now. And for every person who gets out, there are many more who are left behind, unable to get out now because they're surrounded by the fighting, and of course they get caught in the crossfires. What we see repeatedly in conflicts, civilians always paying the greatest price for something they didn't start and they can't control and often can't escape from.
Right.
Lindsay?
Ian Panel reporting in from Kyiv for us once again. Thanks so much, Ian.
So true.
And as the crisis escalates, the stream of humanity fleeing the war zone continues to grow. Now, 1.7 million people have left Ukraine for neighboring countries.
That is insane. 1.7 million people. I mean, just that alone is insane.
Colorful gates. On the other side of that bomb shelter, the squeal of kids on a merry-go-round. But this isn't a school. It's a state-run orphanage. And half the children here have fled besieged cities in eastern Ukraine in desperate need of shelter, hot meals, and the nourishment of affection.
They don't know what war is, we're told here, but they know that something is wrong. They know.
What? This 2-year-old doesn't know what war is. Do you know what war is? You're 2.
Oh, they're not where they used to be. Many kids
What?
like
So
the one.
silly. All right.
They are bombing us. They're sending missiles, helicopters, jet fighters. So a lot of things. But
Oh, yeah. This is an exclusive interview they had with Zelenskyy just a couple of minutes ago.
we are not doing this because we don't have the sky. We don't control our sky.
The president and NATO have said no to this no-fly zone because of concerns this could trigger a much wider conflict, a much...
No. It will trigger a much wilder conflict. Even just giving these people planes and allowing them to take off from Poland, I don't know how. It's just like this 1 foot in, 1 foot out crap, and thinking that we can just skate by and acting like we're not actually participating when in fact we are participating. It's the most idiotic and insane thing that's being pushed from the mainstream narrative right now. It's crazy.
A bigger war than what we're seeing already, because there would have to be a willingness to shoot Russian planes out of the sky. Do you understand that concern?
What do you mean to shoot down Russian planes? If the missile is flying, yesterday, for example, the missile hit the university in the city of Kharkiv and the dormitory, and the same missile hit the tumor pediatric clinic in Kyiv. So if this missile is flying, so are you thinking whether to shoot it down or not? I think there is no any other answer but to yes, they need to be shot down. You have to preserve lives. I'm sure that the brave American soldiers who would be shooting it down, knowing that it's flying towards the students, I'm sure that they had no doubt in doing so.
Mr. President, I know that no one questions the horror unfolding in Ukraine right now. What the president has said here, and lawmakers really in both parties, Republicans and Democrats, have stood behind the president on this. The concern about protecting and enforcing a no-fly zone over Ukraine would then lead to the possibility it would draw the U.S. into a wider war with Russia, that they're simply not willing to do that.
We are a place in Europe, a place of freedom, a zone of freedom. And everyone thinks that we are far away from America or Canada.
You are.
No, we are this zone of freedom. And when the limits of rights and freedoms are being violated and stepped on, then you have to protect us, because we will come first, you will come second, because the more this beast will eat, he wants more, more, and more.
Mr. President, you talked about the need for fighter jets. We know the U.S. is reportedly looking at how to supply Russian jets from Poland. You had requested these jets because Ukrainian fighter pilots know how to fly these Russian planes. Has there been any movement on that front?
What's up, BB? The Russians will have to really rely on less surgical targeting with better SAM systems. Yeah. Russians always, it's just like World War II. It's like if first you don't succeed, throw more people in there.
It's not only the United States. We asked many other countries. I'm not going to name them. We looked into this question. We know where these Soviet planes are stationed, which countries host them, and we ask these countries. And in many ways, it is the United States, in many ways, who will decide.
Do you believe the president could be doing more to help?
I'm sure that the president can do more. I'm sure he can, and I would like to believe that he's capable of doing that.
The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said just in the last 24 hours that...
God, honestly, there's almost not one person I hate more than Antony Blinken. Might be like Kamala Harris, then Antony Blinken, then Pete Buttigieg, then Biden. I don't know. Let me know your list of the people in this administration who you hate the most. Get in the chat and let me know.
The U.S. is looking at credible reports that civilians have been intentionally targeted there in Ukraine, saying if so, it would be a war crime. We, of course, have seen these horrific images in these last few hours. Do you believe that Putin is deliberately attacking?
Mika, what's up? It's down from 339. What did you say earlier? You said 489. How is that even possible? A whole dollar? It's down in New York. New York is subsidizing. I don't know. How is that even possible? I think mine's gone up, though, like last week, like 20 cents or something like that.
Civilians?
But congrats.
Why would I care? The result is the same. People are dying. The bombardment of the schools and kindergartens, the universities, the dormitory, the bombardment of nuclear power plant without even thinking that Europe may disappear if it really hits the unit. Every minute, every hour, every day, the same things are happening. People are dying.
Do you believe Putin is a war criminal?
I think that all people who came to our land, all people who gave those orders, all soldiers who were shooting, they're all war criminals.
Let me ask you, Mr. President, it's believed the U.S. and the West have offered help to get you out of that country alive if it comes to that. Have they made that offer, and how long will you stay?
Yes, I was offered, because there was a loss of information and several special groups who were sent to kill me and my family. I said no, because how can I do this? I'm the citizen of my country, and I'm the elected president of these people.
So you will stay until the end, no matter what that means?
Well, I would like the end to be like in the Hollywood movies, the happy end for our country.
What would you like to say to...
Wow. I do give that guy respect for Zelenskyy for willing to stay and not be like one of our stupid leaders who'd probably easily jump up in a plane and hide in a bunker somewhere and run. We need when focus force doesn't work for the use more force. Yeah, when the CEP improved on ICBMs, they lowered their yields on Megatron back to the kiloton yields. Same thing goes for conventional because more weight. Yeah, it makes total sense. Needed uses more gas and explodes. Yeah. Russia's gonna run out of money, but you know who's gonna back them? China. I mean, people are already switching all their cards and their banks over to China's back stuff. I mean, it makes total sense. Why would you ever rely on anything in America? I mean, this is a lesson to most countries in the world. Do not rely on America for anything. You should be self-sufficient enough, and period. If we tell you not to denuclearize and we'll back you, do not listen to us. Get as many nukes as you possibly can. I don't know. Taiwan needs to be looking for a nuke right now or building one. Yeah.
Vladimir Putin right now.
I think he is capable of stopping the war that he started.
Brenton Woods,
and
Twilight.
Even if he doesn't think that he was the one who started, he should know one important thing that cannot deny, that stopping the war is what he's capable of.
For the American people and for the people of the West who have been moved by your resilience.
There's no way Putin would just stop this war. That's insane. It's like you already punched him in the face. You can't just walk away. If the fight is on.
And by the bravery of the Ukrainian people, do you have a message for them?
I don't know what to say. Thank you very much. You know.
Wow, he's speaking in English. The petrodollar is at its end. The ability to export inflation is just, yeah, I know. And this is what scares me the most and people aren't paying attention to the most, as our corporations are so willing to cut people off and just cripple the Russian citizens to the point where they're forced to choose another means, another way to back their money, another way to get their money, because all these corporations are making it just tougher, and the petrodollar is coming in with Iran. I mean, no one's talking about the nuclear deal there. And then we have that secret meeting with the Venezuelan dude. It's like Maduro. It's like, if you're not paying attention, there's so many movements going on right now that could be catastrophic for you and I. Why doesn't he ask him about means agreement? No, you won't ask him about anything like that. I want him to ask about do you have any dirt on Hunter Biden before we go?
What to say to Americans? I just want you to feel and to understand what does it mean for us freedom. Because always American people, they speak about freedom and they know what is it. And now, when you're looking at Ukrainians, I think you feel what does it mean for us. So we are not far from you. We are not far from you. And that's why, Americans, if you see and if you understand how we feel life, how we fight against all the enemies for our freedom, support us. Support us, and not only with words, with concrete, direct steps. Do it, and I think we'll win. Of course, together with all.
Beep, beep, you think he's speaking from Delaware?
The world.
President Zelenskyy remaining optimistic. Our thanks to David Muir for bringing us that. And joining us now is former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine.
That's crazy. What happened to her? Girl, your makeup is messed up.
Her first in-person engagements.
I look like somebody punched her in the left eye. Or did something happen to you that you need to talk about?
Since having COVID, she met Canada.
All right. Oh, God, gross. All right, I'm going to watch this a little bit because this looks like something interesting. You
Right now, there is a sound of bombardment coming from all around us, and all of the civilians from this area are fleeing.
Dude, they're still selling no-fly zones. I know they are. They are pushing no-fly zones like nobody's business. I'm never the person that thinks that politicians are idiots because I think they know exactly what they're doing and why they're doing it. Just like when Jen Psaki will just openly lie to on the podium. And Biden as well. They know exactly what they're doing. They want war so bad. I don't understand. That's what happens when you put a bunch of people in office that have never fought. Because people that actually have fought in wars, they know wars is actually hell. And that's why you never want to go. Because hell it doesn't get any worse than that. I made a tweet out. I put a tweet out earlier, and I was like, the Biden administration and these politicians are slowly walking us towards World War III. And people were like, that's BS. This is bullcrap. Quit spreading lies. I'm like, how do you not see that? It's just we're just tiptoeing our way there. It's not that we're like going full-fledged in. We're tiptoeing. And then we're going. It's almost like we're pushing Russia so much to the point where we have no option but to go to war because of something they did to us or something. Eventually retaliate. I can't believe Russia hasn't retaliated in any way towards us for all the moves that we've been making. It makes no sense. Like I don't get it.
I think we can probably go. Let's go.
Go.
Sasha, let's go. We're in an area of northwest of Kiev where there's been intense fighting over the past few days between the Russians and the Ukrainian militaries. There is intense bombardment, oh my God, coming from all around us right now. Jesus Christ.
Ее цель – защита людей, которые на протяжении 8 лет подвергаются издевательствам, геноциду со стороны киевского режима. И для этого мы будем стремиться к демилитаризации и денацификации Украины.
After months of amassing more than 100,000 troops on the Ukrainian border,
JFC, Kristen Kearney, wrote an amazing book on backyard bunker building. Ooh. Edward Taylor wrote the intro, The More You Know. I don't know much about those guys. I'll have to look into that. I don't know. I have like emergency food supply and obviously, you know, I'm locked and loaded, but I don't have like a bunker. Plus I live amongst a bunch of people.
Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered an invasion of the country from multiple directions.
These ads get me every time. Do you have a bunker in your backyard? Beep, beep. The Teller Ulam design? Interesting. I am think about it. Oh, okay.
For weeks now, Western intelligence agencies have been warning that Russia might launch a full-scale war on Ukraine. But few here believed it could happen. However, this morning, after around 5 o'clock, Russia began airstrikes across the country, and there are air raid sirens going off.
Say what you will about Vice, at least they're walking around. I'm just so tired of these freaking wartime hotel guys.
Right now, here in...
Oh, you're thinking about it. Okay, yeah. I don't even know how you get started on that. Do you have to rent one of those bobcats or something to start digging in your backyard?
In the heart of Kiev. Thousands are racing to get out of Kiev, lining up to board trains and buses that will take them out of the city. Did you ever expect that you would have to flee Kiev with your family?
Было очевидно, что агрессия будет, потому что все к тому шло уже много лет, и только наивный дурак не понимал, к чему это все приведет. В принципе, мы вещи собрали уже 15 числа, и тут только ждали, когда начнется.
What do you think will happen next?
Що ми можемо? Ми можемо стояти, ми можемо тримати це разом. В нас є армія, в нас діє влада, в нас є президент, парламент. Ми будемо жити.
As night falls, Russia continues its advance, and people are taking shelter underground, in basements, parking garages, and subway stations. Twenty-seven-year-old Kristina Mazurchik works in a jewelry store. She tried to take shelter in a subway station close to her house, but it was completely
The Mongols. Good throwback, dude.
full. So she's come here to the Krushatik station with her mom and sister.
Сьогодні зранку я повинна була їхати на роботу, але телефонує мені мама, говорить мені...
She works at a jewelry store? I'm supposed to go to work today? Oh, girl. I don't think anyone's buying any of that today.
Дуже страшно, прийди до мене. Ми не знали, що
Nothing says bombing your city like I need to go buy some earrings and maybe a ring to wear today.
Лишатися вдома чи що робити, і вирішили піти в метро. Щоб якось себе, може, сховати, не знаю. Нічого такого подібного взагалі.
What do you think is going to happen in the coming days?
Сподіваємося, що повернемося додому. Там все буде добре.
That is like devastatingly sad. I just can't imagine not, being allowed to go back into your own home, your own bed, your own everything. And there's something about home that it's just very powerful.
Are you scared by what you might find when you go above ground tomorrow?
Просто хочеться, щоб було тихо, спокійно і без обстрілів там. Навіть якщо там будуть там якісь руїни, то це все можна переробити, це все таке набути буде з часом. Нічого такого, але щоб просто всі відступили і все було добре.
Dude, the Ukrainian currency? I don't know. That is a good question. Home is where the dogs are.
But Russian forces continue to push deeper into the country and into Kiev. This apartment block was struck by a rocket from fighting a few kilometers away. 6 people were injured.
Я знаходився в тому крилі якраз з хворими, і після грохоту ми всі евакуювали в бункер.
Alexei Orlov was on duty at the hospital across the road. What would have happened had that shell or missile hit the hospital?
Як бачите, цей дім рятував.
Honestly, that's the one thing I've been thinking about is what are these Ukrainian hospitals like? Who's working them? Are they overcrowded? Why is nobody reporting on some of these hospitals? It seems a little odd in a wartime not to have that information.
Лікарню. Тому що по траєкторії він би влучив в те крило, де знаходиться хірургічне відділення, і він би вбив висококласних спеціалістів, які хочуть працювати, які ніколи не тримали зброї в руках. Наша зброя – це скальпель і розум.
But other Ukrainians are taking up arms. So we're here out.
Look, this is why I'm so confused, about the whole Russians shooting civilians. Because there's a lot of Ukrainian civilians that are shooting and have arms and protection, which makes sense. I totally understand. But, like, are they reporting it as that and it's to promote war crimes, or is it actually happening? It's just so hard to tell.
Outside this building in Kiev that the government is using as a distribution point to hand out weapons to, well, anyone who wants one, so that they can use them in the fight against the Russians.
On the day of the invasion, these two friends,
Yeah,
one
that
a
makes
software
sense.
engineer and the other a biochemist,
Beep,
decided to join the Territorial Defense Force, an all-volunteer group within the Ukrainian military.
Russians have enslaved this land since, I don't know, at least 16th century. They've made their best to suppress our language, to suppress our culture.
Wait a second. Why do I feel like I've seen this before? Is this? I thought this was the new one. Just want to make sure. Okay, this is 8 hours old. I thought, okay.
Я знаходився в тому крилі якраз з хворими, значить, і...
Hey there, good drivers. You're probably tired.
I just want to make sure I'm watching something that's new.
Після грохоту ми всі евакуювали в бункер.
Alexei Orlov was on duty at the hospital across the road.
What would have happened had that shell or missile hit the hospital?
Як бачите, цей бої в руках.
Outside,
They're a biochemist.
It's pretty obvious.
Ukrainians have suffered a lot of casualties so far. Aren't you afraid that you might be one of them?
They're hitting.
God, some of these questions are just so dumb. I just, it gets me. Are you afraid that one of these is coming right for your noodle? This stuff is going to be where the war crimes. This stuff is going to be where the war crimes come up. Yeah, when the Russians start shooting civilians with yeah.
Buildings.
The war crime thing. It's almost like some of our politicians are praying that that happens instead of thinking of it as an actual disaster like you and me think of it as.
Where civilians.
Where it's like people are actually dying and this matters and that's not okay. But then you have to have that actual conversation of whether it's worth you going to war for. That's always the conversation to be had.
Are living. So we're in danger everywhere. And the only option that we have left is to fight back and take
Beautiful
as much
beard.
of these bastards to hell as we can.
I do like that attitude. Take those bastards. See, did you see that? Look at this. I know I'm like leading into some of that, but these are civilians walking around with armed guns. I mean, AKs. Are these the civilians that are dying? Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm alone in this. Am I alone in this, guys? Let me know.
Где его документы? Ты откуда? Я вообще родился в Донецке. Я
Приписка Донецк. Нагнул, голову нагнул, ноги поставил.
Рюкзак, давай посмотрим.
The volunteer groups are setting.
Exactly, beep beep. They are all too close together. It's like, you got to spread out, man. You can't, yeah. You're just asking to be targeted.
Up checkpoints all across the city.
One grenade or mortar, they're dead. Yeah, I know. Or, you know, a mine or something like that. They could walk on a mine, then they're all dead. They don't know how to fight. I know. This is why training your citizens is worth it, especially in firearms. Like, look at this right here. Look at this guy. Just look how he's just standing in the street, wearing a hat, and then you have a soldier right next to him. But this guy with the jacket is standing in the middle of the street. You're standing in the middle of the street. You're going to get shot. All right? Come on. They don't know the country was hijacked a long time. I know. That's what happens when you control the media. And they did that themselves, too. I mean, they took out, would they take out 4 of their own media sources because they were spreading Russian disinformation or something? They are sending them to their deaths. I know they are. That's what's so sad is these civilians willing to fight. They give them no training, no expertise. They're just like, do your best, bro. Like, it's devastating. Snipers will use them as bait. Of course, yeah. Yeah, they'll shoot the legs. I mean, look at this old guy in the middle of the street. They'll just shoot the legs. Then they'll try to save him. Like, I don't have any military training, but I would never stand in the middle of the freaking street with a gun in a hand. Ever. I'm trying to survive.
We're here at this checkpoint, and these territorial defense forces are suspecting that someone might be over there. They've taken up position. It gives you a sign of...
There you go. He went and stood behind a light pole. Good for you, bro. But then you have this guy who's just sitting. At least he's down. But look at this guy next to him. He's just standing with his hands in his pockets. Like, come on. These... It's like some old white guy walking up to a fight. It's like, hey, what in the heck is going on here? Oh my God, they're shooting. They don't even give them comms or binoculars. I know. They don't give them comms, binoculars. Not even like, here's like a green shirt that'll help you, you know, camouflage a little bit. It's just, here's your jeans that stick out like a sore thumb. And I just can't get over him just standing in the middle of the street with his hands in his pockets. It's such a drastic contrast between the two dudes.
Just how tense things are in Kiev at the moment.
Чисто. Можно, да?
What happened there exactly?
Подозрительні люди, і ми їх перевірили. Якщо підозріло щось знаходимо, ми їх затримуємо і забираємо для того, щоб перевірити, хто вони, що вони і для чого вони сюди прийшли. Тому що дуже багато диверсійно-розвідувальних груп.
Viktor Kirichenko is in charge of this checkpoint in the Vishneva neighborhood in western Kiev.
Who are these guys?
Тут знаходяться звичайні люди, які прийшли на допомогу військовим. Вони зробили коктейль Молотова. Вони прийшли, взяли свою зброю. Що у кого було.
Are you worried that Russian forces are going to make it here to the center of Kiev?
Вони вже прийшли. Вони вже вбивають наших людей. Вони вбивають наших дітей, жінок, матерів. І вони вже дуже близько. Десь приблизно кілометрів 10 від цього стоїть вражеська техніка. Близько 400 єдиниць бронетехніки, танків і ракет.
Do you think that you and civilian volunteers and others are going to be capable of stopping them?
He's asked that question like 100 times. Do you think you're going to die? Wundret. Hey, what's up, Melissa? I don't know what you just said, but I love it.
Ми в цьому впевнені. І ми їх переможемо, навіть якщо ми помремо, і ворог буде розбитий.
If you're Russian, привіт.
Я в цьому впевнений на 300%.
Привіт, бабушка.
Тому перемога буде за нами.
Or if you're Ukrainian, what up, dude? Dudette, sorry.
The strength of the Ukrainian defenses surprised the Russians, who have made only small territorial gains, while losing hundreds of tanks and military vehicles in the process.
Блокпост, воинская часть. Блядь, горит все.
Just over there are...
They need to get their families in Boogie.
At least 3 military vehicles that have been absolutely
destroyed. They need to get out.
The Ukrainian soldiers told us that they belong to the Russians who tried to come down...
Look at this guy. Not even wearing a helmet. Like...
this road this morning when they were met with a fierce resistance from the Ukrainian military here. These 2 vehicles here belong to the Ukrainians, and they're blocking the road because, as you can see, behind them, it's a straight shot to the heart of Kiev.
And look at this guy, just walking in the middle of the street. Golly. That's just so much.
О другій ночі було чути гради. Цей дом, отак от весь ходив. Він десь оцей перший десь йшов кілометрів в час 70 до 80. Бистро, щоб туди проскочити. Ну, хлопці не дали йому проскочити, відкрили одразу огонь.
So, are you optimistic that the Ukrainians can stop the Russian advance?
Можу. Даю на 90% то, що ми їх отут всіх лишимо, якщо будуть йти. Всіх отут там.
Soon there won't be enough gas to flee. There won't be enough, yeah. Yeah, they're getting crippled as far as like food, gas, supplies. You can't survive that kind of assault forever. Russia is taking their time on this one, unfortunately and fortunately. Those are NATO grenades. Are they really? Is there a difference? I guess that makes sense. All I can think about is like the different grenades from like World War II. I don't really know too much about grenades.
But it's unclear how long the Ukrainian defenses can hold. 40-mile column of Russian tanks is heading directly for Kiev. People in the city are bracing themselves for a full-scale Russian attack.
Yep.
Where have you been staying since we last saw you a few days ago?
В метро так и оставались, мы никуда не выходили. Тяжеловато, морально хочется на воздух и очень холодно.
I want to know where this guy is staying. Where's the reporter staying?
Мы держимся, выхода нет, там более безопасно, чем дома.
What do you think is going to happen here?
То, что все закончится, но такие прогнозы, что Путин не остановится. Назад дороги уже нет. Хочется надеяться на лучшее. Я надеюсь, что мы победим вместе этого злого, ужасного человека-убийцу.
Crazy. There's no way this is gonna end without United States getting involved. I just don't see it any other way. I don't know about you. I want to see these British soldiers that signed up. Let's check and see any news popping up first before we get into it. They're all on commercial break at the same time because they all do that. They're all annoying like that. Let's see.
This weekend in Durham, North Carolina, we take a look by the numbers. Nearly 42.
Okay, they're talking about North Carolina like that matters.
Streaming free now.
It's not the tanks, it's the elite forces that are fresh as a spring breeze. Yeah. You're bringing up as, yeah. Yeah.
Time with your little
I did see some reports about like South Korean special forces in the area that just landed, and then other troops from like Mexico. Just like, how's this not NATO countries getting involved? But okay, sure.
Out and enjoy.
All right. I'll return in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I got another video loaded up I want to look at.
Welcome back to a special edition of Top Story, reporting from Ukraine. You're seeing journalists run for cover after heavy shelling near Kyiv. Just a snippet of all the ongoing conflict in this country. I want to bring in now a member of Ukraine's parliament, Lisa Yasko. Lisa, thank you for joining Top Story. I know this is an incredibly tough time for you and your family.
I don't understand why all these corporate media pundits, they're like in Ukraine, just doing a fun, a news segment. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
And to forget that there is...
All right, I want to see this video right here.
I'm from the UK, sort of north area of the UK, Manchester, that area. And basically we're here because of the war crimes that are being committed. Obviously, the president asked if he can help, and I started to think about it, and then I started to read the war crimes, and that's when it gets sickening.
I told all my family. They were obviously worried but supportive. But anyone that's doubted where I'm going, like why I'm going, I've been setting my mind.
Did you watch the Battle of Donetsk Airport a few years back? No, I did not. Might be interesting to watch.
And why I'm going, and I know it's a just cause.
I don't understand how this isn't foreign intervention. Like, I just don't. British soldiers who are volunteering, they're wearing, you know. How is this not interventional? I don't understand. We're just playing little footsie games with these people. It's a you know, it's a nuclear power country. I'll have to look that up.
I was over in Iraq, and yeah, was there for a few months, and then flew home, saw my missing kids, hadn't seen them for a while, and basically said, yeah, I'm going to Ukraine. So big shock.
Saw my wife and kids, and I was like, I got to get out of here and go to Ukraine. Oh, golly.
And I feel a bit sorry for them, to be fair. I know they were pretty upset, but...
You feel sorry for them? I don't think... What? I don't think you like them that much. I'm just going to put that out there.
You know, people need me here. We're going to wait, to be honest, and see what the situation is as we get further in. It's all going to depend on how well the Ukrainians are doing in different parts. And also, you know, where they need us. You know, if they need us to be an independent...
How is the UK government not losing their poop over it? They did when they went and fought with the Kurds. Yeah. I don't understand. I don't get this at all. I don't get all these like volunteer people showing up in full uniform. Okay.
Independent unit because of the special...
You know, because there's going to be reports that are coming out of like Russian troops killing South Korean special forces, British people who are just... And there's going to be that awkward tension. It's just building, slowly building. And we're tiptoeing to it.
The skills within, you know, each group and each team that comes out. This is why I said before about making sure enough people who have previous military experience, you know, people who are specialised in quite big things, if they come and join us, then Jesus, you know, they're going to be able to. How you doing? Thank you. Yes, thanks, buddy. You know, if they could come, then yeah, who knows? Maybe an independent unit is what gets formed.
I think that when I was sitting down and sitting in Live for a while, then I kind of started doubting myself, but at the same time, you need to make forward progress. And so I'm not doubting myself at all whatsoever. It's more so I'm remembering my training and also going over things that I can do and help out with, like just in case whatever the scenario is. And so then I'm remembering my training. I'm trying to go over what the plan of action is and also my plan if there's something bad should happen, what I'm going to do because of that. So
exactly,
that's essentially what I've been running through instead of thinking about why I'm
exactly, BB. That's what's so crazy to me.
Afraid or why this, why that. So if you start thinking that way, then you're going to be distracted. You just stay focused. And so that's why I've been going over the things in my head to keep positive and to also trying to help others.
I mean, I'm sure they're treated as heroes as such. I mean, it's incredible, but it just seems so crazy to me. What is this? Okay, here's my least favorite morning show ever.
Let's begin with you on the Kremlin's latest warning. You know, the very existence... Keep moving the goalpost. They do. The very existence of Ukraine at first was an act of war. Then putting Ukraine in NATO was an act of war. And then troops on the ground was an act of war. And now supplying aircraft is an act of war. Pretty soon, wearing a New York Jet sweatshirt will be described by Lavrov as being an act of war.
What? God,
The fact is, this is so laughable. The Soviet Union and Russia have fought so many proxy wars against us. Their weapons have killed so many of American troops through the years, whether it was in Korea or whether it was in Vietnam or whether it was in Central America. You name the place, Soviet armament went there and killed young American boys. They can't change the rules of engagement in the middle of this war. And I must say, at some point, if Vladimir Putin is declaring everything an act of war, then nothing is an act of war.
I think we're moving in that direction.
That literally makes no sense, but okay, yeah, sure.
I want to say that both Mika and I are wearing the colors of Ukraine this morning.
Oh, thank God. Thanks for making that huge, grand gesture. Look at her smiling. Oh, thank you for noticing I was wearing those colors. I'm so thankful. Oh, my God.
So we'll probably end up in the same cell block in the loop.
Every day. I wear them every day. It matches my beautiful blonde hair and my beautiful blue eyes.
Bianca, I'm not too worried about it. And I'm not worried a bit about this potential deal to get jets. I think it's smart. I think it is.
Oh, totally smart. I can't imagine anything negative going on for Ukrainians being able to take off from Poland. I don't, or Americans supplying jets or giving that green light. I can't imagine anything negative coming from it, can you?
It's entirely consistent with international law and diplomacy. And the way it would work is quite simple.
I also love that these idiots found each other. Thank you for saying that, BB.
We would encourage our Polish friends to move these jets over to our Ukrainian friends. Ukrainians have skilled pilots who can fly these MiG-29s. They would be very, very powerful in a tactical environment. And then we, the United States, would...
Where are they taking off from? Let's talk about that. No, thanks. Let's not have that conversation.
Backfill our Polish allies with F-16 jets. Nice movement.
I just can't. This administration is so idiotic. They can't think 2 days from today.
Of capable combat power to help alleviate this disastrous, terrible, immoral series of war crimes that we are seeing in Ukraine.
Why stop with planes? Why don't we just send some nukes over there? It's just like, oh, no, we're not actually getting involved. We'll just give you some nukes. We'll give you planes. We'll give you guns, maybe some soldiers. I will figure it out. We'll give you Kamala Harris. She'll figure it out for you guys.
I think this makes enormous sense. I hope it happens today.
Well, and again, just for historical context, this is exactly what we did with Britain from the late 19th.
God,
Let's begin with.
I just can't stand these people. These people are so pumped about war. They're so pumped about you going to war and fighting it for them as they have their little moral righteous stands in their safe green screen room and they don't even engage in a chat like I did. Get out of here. You guys are trash. They are making those bases combatant. Yeah, they are making the bases combatants. Like this whole 1 foot in, 1 foot out crap is really starting to tick me off. I don't who watches this show for real and just is like, yeah, these people have it going on. I trust them. Oh, the open. Is this the open? Oh my God. I'm here for Rhino Republicans. Yes. I didn't really see the opening of it.
It is obvious. Why in the world would the United States intentionally seek war with Russia? How could we possibly benefit from that war? We still don't know the answer to that question, but it is obvious.
We're not benefiting, Tucker.
That permanent Washington has been fixated on war with Russia for a very long time. A couple of years ago, you may remember, we'd forgotten, they impeached a sitting president. Why? For threatening to withhold military aid to President Zelenskyy of Ukraine. Failing to back a proxy war in Ukraine was the one thing Donald Trump was not allowed to do as president. Again, they impeached him for it. And no one said much about it, even in his own party, because of course they supported war with Russia too. Maybe even more than the Democrats did.
Duh.
As far back as 2016, Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, hysterical little Lindsey Graham, was jumping around, acting out his war fantasies in front of foreign soldiers in Ukraine. If we saw this tape at the time, we don't remember seeing it. Back in 2016, Ukraine seemed like a faraway place. We should have paid more attention. Here it is.
Your fight is our fight.
Ваша боротьба – це наша боротьба.
2017 will be the year of offense.
Рік 2017 рік буде ріком нападу.
All of us will go back to Washington and we will push the case against Russia.
Ми всі повернемося до Вашингтону і ми будемо відстоювати санкції проти Росії.
Enough of a Russian aggression.
Досить вже російської агресії.
It is time for them to pay a heavier price.
Your fight is our fight? That's a very strange thing for an American lawmaker to say to a foreign military. Why would the Ukrainian government's fight?
Because we put our finger in everything. That's why...
in 2016 possibly be our fight. On what grounds is it our fight? What does that even mean? We don't know. And yet now it is demonstrably true. Ukraine's fight is our fight. Ukraine's war is our war. It's here, but most Americans did not see that coming. Yet permanent Washington certainly did. Permanent Washington understood that the second Vladimir Putin's forces rolled across the border into Ukraine, we would inevitably be on a course toward war with Russia. They knew. Here's the president of the August Council on Foreign Relations on the day of the invasion.
We need now a response of necessity to his war of choice. And there's got to be to raise the economic costs at home, to raise the military costs on the ground. I hate to be so blunt, but the most vulnerable thing that Putin's vulnerable to is dead Russian soldiers. So we have to make sure Ukraine has the means to resist.
Dead Russian soldiers. At the time, that seemed a little bellicose right out of the gate. It had just happened. Maybe there's some way to de-escalate this. The invasion's terrible, but isn't America's role as steward of the West to make things better?
I wish that was the case, Tucker, but it doesn't seem like it.
Wouldn't a prompt...
Not to sound tinfoil hatted. Okay. I'm here for this. I haven't even read it, but I'm pumped about it. But it seems like Grigory Schwartz is behind... Oh, my God. I'm here for that, man.
Russian withdrawal from Ukraine be the wisest course for everyone, including...
At this point, man, it's like every conspiracy theory, I'm almost like, I'm okay with diving down. I wish YouTube was more okay with it because I would discuss more of that kind of stuff. I wish they would just see it as, information and not... I'm not an authoritative source. Don't ever use me and say I'm an authoritative source, period, for anything.
And especially the Ukrainians, on whose behalf we claim to speak, but whose country would be leveled by a protracted war? You would think so, but that's not what anyone in Washington wanted. They wanted a war, and now they have one.
I was like nervous about all that talk from Biden talking about like we're together all of a sudden. It's like you've never wanted us to be together, and the whole push for make things in America again, aka make America great again, crap that Biden was stealing from Trump. I was nervous when he started talking like that because it just made me feel like we're going to war. I just feel like it's like inevitable. Like I don't know how we walk out of this unharmed in any capacity.
It does not serve the interests of this country. A war fought on behalf of democracy that ignores the will of the country fighting it. At some point soon we'll explain exactly what's going on here. We're out of time for tonight, but it's enough to know Republicans are not representing their voters when they move to a position that's way more warlike than Joe Biden's, when they embrace the lunacy that could really hurt this country. They're not representing people like Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell seems like a Republican voter. He's a 27-year-old mixed martial arts fighter. He's a cattle farmer from Cabot, Arkansas.
Oh, I like that guy's clip. I've seen that clip, though. I don't really want to... What is Tulsi Gabbard? I love Tulsi because, like, liberals, especially leftists, just hate her so much. They just call her a grifter, and they just think she's, like, the worst person on earth, and I'm here for anybody that they feel that way towards.
Well, the Biden administration is going to have to ask themselves this question. Is this worth it? I looked at the market today when I came into work. It's down, what, 700?
Oh, God. Can we stop using the stock market as an idea of what is good and bad in the world? It goes up when things are going bad in the world. It's not an indication of...
800 points.
Maybe it's an indication over the long run, but not daily.
People are losing.
It's a ruse to get Hunter's commission back to the Navy. Oh, my gosh. Would you take orders from Hunter Biden? Beep, beep. I trust him. I've seen his art. It's beautiful.
Their jobs. People will have to choose whether they're going to buy groceries or gasoline. oh, and by the way, Americans.
I love these multimillionaires talking like they know how you feel right now buying gas and buying groceries. Like, give me a break, dude. I know you're trying to appeal to the commoner, but you're not me. You're not one of us.
Are possibly going to enforce a no-fly zone, and thousands of innocent civilians are dying in Ukraine. And it seems like we just hurtled ourselves into this situation right after a pandemic, Tulsi. Right when
it's almost like it was on purpose.
we're trying to recover from a pandemic. We're trying to keep our eye on China. We're trying to make sure the American people are healthy.
Keep our eye on China. No one is looking at China, not even Republicans.
And can work and can live. And now we're in a war in Europe almost, and we can't afford anything, and we're facing...
Doesn't it make sense that we have like an old timer like Biden as president and we're about to have a war in Europe? It's like, I remember the good old days when wars were fought in Europe and not in Africa. God. Jeez.
A recession? Do you think anybody thought this through?
Is she about to say Great Reset?
It certainly doesn't seem like it, or a more cynical view was that they did think it through, and what is playing out is exactly what they had aimed for. The greatest tragedy in all of this, Jesse, is that this devastation, all of this suffering that's going on, this could have been prevented.
P.S. Beep beep. I always appreciate how much you spam my chat. It means a lot to me. I know it takes time to type, so I appreciate you.
We had leaders who put the interest of people first.
I agree. I agree. And again, not our fault, but we're here. And we have to take responsibility for what we did. And there's no doubt about that.
No, there is no we in this equation. This is them.
Thank you very much, Tulsi Gabbard.
All right. She on again?
Congresswoman, that seemed to be a critical piece of paper we signed with the Ukrainians in November, just a few months ago, basically saying, yeah, you're NATO, you're on the way, you're getting there, you're close. Did anybody in Washington think that might have been a little provocative? And I'm not blaming the Americans for everything that Russia does. I'm just saying it takes...
Yeah, I don't understand when all these Americans decided to start caring about. I saw that Trevor Noah video about saying it's because it's white people, and I'm almost like, maybe there's some truth in that. I just don't get it, dude. You're welcome. Dude, I appreciate you, man. That means a lot to me.
It takes a little touch to handle.
I'll never forget you when we get to 10 million subscribers.
Buffer state like Ukraine, don't you think so?
Yeah, Jesse, as you said, there is so much devastation and incredible suffering that's going on in Ukraine right now, and the world needs to condemn Putin for his actions. The thing here is that our leaders really have this FU attitude, and they just don't care. We see this.
Yeah, of course they don't care. They act like they care. They act like they care about how much you pay at the pump. They act like they care how much you buy at the grocery store. They don't care at all. In fact, today, Pete Buttigieg and Kamala Harris were pushing EVs to everyone, and which we'll get into that later. But they're just like, what's your problem with gas prices? Just buy an electric vehicle, you poor bastard.
FU attitude in our domestic policy here at home.
Bishoy, what up? Let's go, Brandon. I don't even want to do that anymore because it feels positive. I freaking hate him. Do you see that guy try to unload the AK? Oh, no, I wasn't watching. It's hard for me to not pay attention to Tulsi when she talks.
Where they're saying, you know what, F you to parents who are concerned about what their kids are being taught in their schools.
Dude, I know. I mean, you were with me, BB, when we were looking at that video of like guys with AKs just walking in the freaking middle of the street like like they're playing freaking paintball or something. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Get out of the middle of the street. You're fighting a war.
God. F you to Americans who want to make their own decisions as it relates to their health and COVID. And then you see this same attitude and mindset also extending to their decisions on our foreign policy. Basically going in and saying, you know what, this is what we're going to do.
Surfer mommy. Tulsi, let me get another one of those workout videos real quick. Have you seen the new FD? Oh my God, yes, I have seen those documents. It's not looking good at all. Watch them blame Trump. Of course they will. I mean, I don't know why Trump was touting it like, look at my fantastic achievement, saved everyone. I feel like it was just a setup all. I don't know if I would go as far as I would say setup, but I definitely feels like the a drug manufacturer company would love to have that many people participate in a trial. Let's just be real about that. I love all those documents that came out and how much was actually redacted. It's unfreaking believable. It's like, we're not trying to. I did, but I know. Hey, because I'm so young and studly. Yeah. I love like documents that come up with so much redaction. They're like, nothing to see here, folks. You can trust us. And I can't believe I work with so many people that are just like openly trusting some of these people. Won't look at these documents. Won't look into any side effects. They won't do anything. They'll just say, this is what the truth is, and I'm just gonna follow the. I don't want to actually think for myself. They wanted to wait 75 years. I know. When I saw that being pushed of them waiting 75 years, how could you not go, I love a double negative, big fan of those, not go into the conspiracy, this is not a good thing, look, we're going to wait 75 years to produce this data because, well, I don't want you to know what we're actually doing here. It's just like, it's so crazy. Clear why the libs keep boosting it up, trying to make it seem like everyone. I know. Jen Psaki today just came out and went against the Surgeon General of Florida because I believe, Surgeon General is here and Jen Psaki is like way up here. I mean, as far as knowledge goes, like I trust her. The page is 90% toner. Yeah. God, I wish I get the idea of redacting stuff for security reasons, but sometimes I wish that wasn't a thing because then there wouldn't be conspiracy theorists. There would just be truth tellers. Just,
other country in the world, and there's nothing that anybody can do about it. There's nothing anyone can do to stop us. And all of this just points to the fact that they just don't care because, Jesse, if they did, then before making these decisions, before taking these actions.
Every time I listen to her talk, I'm like, I cannot believe the Democrats were like, we're against racism. And then they looked at Tulsi Gabbard and they're like, we'll take the old white guy. God.
They would stop and think for more than just a moment about what the ramifications and consequences of those decisions will be. Who will they impact the most? How will they impact the American people, the people of these other countries? What will the cost be?
All right, it's a little too political and boring. Oh, yes. I wish this guy, I don't know. People always ask me, who would I vote for right now that's not Trump or DeSantis? And I always say Rand Paul. I don't know who else who would you guys vote for in the next presidential election if it's not DeSantis or Trump? Those two seem too obvious, on the nose. And it made me think, like, who would I support? And I would get this guy because I think he would actually fire Fauci.
The national media asked me about January 6th, and I can honestly tell you, if this January 6th commission were going after Joe Biden, I would vote against it. It's an abuse of power. The Fourth Amendment says the government can't listen to your phone calls. The government
Patriot
can't
Act.
look at your phone records and your bank records unless they have probable cause that you've committed a crime, and they don't go to a political group, they go to a judge who's often impartial. Many times you don't know the party of the judge, but even if they're elected by party, they're supposed to rule in an impartial fashion. The Constitution was there to protect us, but January 6th is an abomination. January 6th committee, what they're doing and can possibly do, but this is not the first time. I mean, this goes back to even Liz's, to her dad and before. It's the Patriot Act. It was my father who said, you know what, you're going to vote on the Patriot Act, you're going to say you're going to go after terrorists, but it'll eventually be used on Americans.
And that is 100% true. All these lefties that are clapping about January 6th, if you think it won't happen to you, you got another thing coming. Just because your ideology is in power, wait till the other ideology goes in power. And now you're all of a sudden against it? Give me a freaking break. You have a bunch of lefty friends who doesn't know who Tulsi Gabbard is? That seems unbelievable. Oh, here we go. Look at these guys. Hey, did you guys decide to all wear the same thing today?
Does it say that in the bill?
The Don't Say Gay bill. I already debunked that bill, and I gave a podcast on it like a month ago when it was first getting touted around. It's not a bill that you're not allowed to say gay. It's a bill that like teachers shouldn't be teaching sexuality classes for kids.
Does it say that in the bill? I'm asking you to tell me what's in the bill because you are pushing false narratives. It doesn't matter what critics say.
Well, it says it bans classroom instruction on sexual identity and gender orientation.
For who?
Yes.
For grades pre-K through 3. So 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds.
Yes, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, and 7-year-olds shouldn't be having a class on sexuality, period. That isn't a crazy idea.
And the idea that you wouldn't be honest about that and tell people what it actually says, it's why people don't trust people like you because you peddle false narratives. And so we disabuse you of those narratives. And we're going to make sure that parents are able to send their kid to kindergarten without having some of this stuff injected into their school curriculum.
Yeah, they kindergartners, they got it out. It's just so silly. Oh, who's this guy? I don't know. Let's check on and see what's going on in the news. Anything up to... Oh, okay. It's into Putin.
Venezuelan oil to make up for lost imports from Russia, as you just said. With gas, though, now over $4 a gallon. What do you say to critics who say that this all is proof that we should put more resources into quickly moving the sources of clean energy and technology like electric vehicles instead of oil from overseas or calling for more domestic energy production?
Not everyone can afford an electric vehicle. Okay. Come on.
So renewables themselves will have no impact. It'll be years and years and years and decades before it is in a position to play that role. Nonetheless, just the approval of Keystone Pipeline would have moved more oil from Canada to the U.S. this year than that we buy from Russia. And there are other actions we could take to become more domestically strong and to increase our exports around the world significantly to help our partners as well. So, look, renewables won't do the trick, but more American-made energy rather than begging countries that support terrorism and sort of thug nations, frankly, isn't, I think, the solution that Joe Biden's proposing isn't what the American people want to see.
And as you know, Europe is far more reliant on energy supplies from Russia than the U.S. Do you think that our European allies are prepared to take a similar step to ban Russian energy imports? And potentially, could this backfire if it hurts the global economy more than it hurts Russia?
Yeah, so I'm, look.
That's exactly what it'll do. But, you know. All right. What? Let's see what this is about the gas. Ugh. I hate that Fox News alert crap. It gets me in my ear every time. After a commercial break. After every single story. It's like to wake you back up.
You say that you're going to do everything that you can to reduce the impact that high gas prices have on Americans. We're asking other countries to think about maybe pumping more oil. Why not just do it here?
Well, to be very clear, federal policies are not limiting the supplies of oil and gas. Let me finish. Let me finish.
An executive order his
Peter,
first week that halted new oil and gas.
Let me give you.
Right there. She just, and then she'll go into her lies.
Let me give you the facts here, and I know that can be inconvenient, but I think they're important in this moment. There are 9,000 approved drilling permits that are not being used. So the suggestion that we are not allowing companies to drill is inaccurate.
Jen Psaki blowing up on our very own Peter Doocy and getting a little defensive over exploding gas prices. The cost of a gallon is now over $4 nationally, and the president's plan to deal with it is to...
Europe thinks they can build wind farms in the near future. Seriously, let that. God. I know. I saw that Elon Musk put a tweet out saying that they need to invest more into nuclear energy. In fact, he'll go so far to help them out. Like, nuclear energy is like the future, and people just don't want to. I don't understand this obsession with connecting with Mother Earth and the wind farms and the solar panels. It's like I'm being healthier because I'm having organic. Okay.
Kiss up to dictators instead of producing more oil here at home. Biden advisors are toying with a possible trip to Saudi Arabia to beg for more energy production. U.S. officials are holding rare face-to-face meetings with Venezuela.
Before we get into this clip, there's this clip right here that I want to watch. Bro, look into okay, I will. What is it? The new energy. Oh, the fusion. Yeah. Fusion is the way. But let's watch this. This is hilarious.
Great education.
Yeah, man.
Because I told him I didn't want to get a certain vehicle because of the amount of gas I would have to spend. Yeah. It costs like $80
to fill it up.
And he said, then you said,
when it gets to half, then you put $20, you bring it back to full.
Yeah.
$80 to fill up. When it goes to half, put $20 and it brings it back up to full. That's our education system right there, baby.
But if I keep doing, I would have to stop more often and still spend 80.
No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
Why?
You're complaining about when it gets to 0, you spend 80, right? When it gets to half, you put 20. Then when it get back to half, you put 20.
Yeah, but I'll keep stopping, putting 20 in, and it'll be 80, the same amount of gas.
This is like our politicians, and when they're completely wrong and off, they just double down.
Great education.
Yeah, man.
Because I told him I didn't want to get a certain vehicle because of the amount of gas I would have to spend. Yeah. It costs like $80
to fill it up.
And he
So $80 to fill up.
Then you said,
when it gets to half, then you put $20, you bring it back to full.
When it gets to half, put $20. Because half of 80 is obviously 20. Everyone knows that.
Yeah. But if I keep doing, I would have to stop more often and still.
Look at him like, looking. What are you talking about? I'm a sheriff. Have you seen me?
80.
No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
Why?
You're complaining about when it gets to 0, you spend 80, right? When it gets to half, you put 20. Then when it get back to half, you put 20.
Yeah, but
you just keep putting 20. You keep putting 20.
Keep stopping, putting 20 in, and it'll be 80, the same amount.
It's not a skit. This is real.
Gas. I'm driving the same amount of gas.
The average human stops once a week for gas, right? With you only work here twice. You would probably have to stop maybe once every 2 weeks. Don't even try it.
This is bordering
Nobody travel more than me.
This is bordering on what's closer, the West Coast or the moon.
So if
this is bordering on that.
You're
telling me that I wouldn't have to if I didn't let my gas get down, I wouldn't have to fill it up as much?
No, I'm saying you're complaining about the $80. That's what the conversation about.
But 4 times 20 is 80 because I'm gonna stop 4 times.
No, you're not gonna stop 4 times. No, you're not gonna stop 4 times. Not in 1 week. You're not.
George is getting anyway. The West Coast is closer than the moon.
If you let it get to 0, right?
It's like our politicians. I know I'm wrong, but I'm gonna keep doubling down. You don't get it. It's like Shaq is an expert. It's not that you don't understand what he's saying. It's that he's just you don't get it. You don't get it.
Monday through Friday, right? Then you got to pay 80 to fill it back up.
Right.
Okay, but if you let it get to half by Wednesday, then you pay 20.
No, it won't get to half by. Right, by if Wednesday it's going to be 40, and then on Friday it'll be 40.
Not 40, 20.
Yeah.
It's going to be 20.
No.
It's going to be 20.
Not half. Half of 80 is 40.
But no, listen to what I'm saying.
This is where he knows he's wrong. He's got to know it by now, and he's like, "I'm gonna keep going."
I am.
Okay.
Do you see that smirk? He's like, "Oh, Shaq messed up."
I am.
Okay.
So if I every day, if I did,
No, you ain't gonna have to put gas in every day. Don't play me right now. Don't play with me right now.
Look at him, he knows.
I'm sorry. Like, I really want to know because Ernie, I want to get this car, but I really want to save gas money.
You're
So
complaining.
please tell me. I want to know how I'm gonna save gas money.
You're complaining about the $80,
Yes.
right? So at zero,
This is everyone in America right now. Don't send your kids to public education.
okay, so at 0 is 80.
No question.
So right at full is 80, right?
Yes.
So if it gets a half, that'll be 40, right?
No question
so
about
if you
it.
put 20 in, then you bring it back up to 3/4.
Now he's like, wait a minute, 3/4. Wait.
Right?
No, if I put 20 in, it'll get to 1/4.
Jeez, yeah. But it'll be 3/4. It'll be 3/4 full.
3/4 empty.
No, 3/4 full.
But who's on first?
This. Yeah. You know what?
But who's on first?
No.
That's the craziest.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never run.
I mean, there's nothing to say about this. That's incredible. This meme made me laugh so hard. For the love of God, turn the oil pipelines back on. I miss Chris Farley every day. Oh my God. All right, this is just like a silly break. That's fourth grade logic. Yeah, it certainly feels that way. I just feel like it's like a man, an older man that is doubling down constantly. Oh my God. This is me walking into work on Mondays.
I love this day.
She can't even walk in it. Fashion over comfort. God. I don't know if you guys saw this meme, but this is too good. I mean, honestly, this is probably one of the best memes of the week. It's so good. Dude, Chicken Dutch ovens herself. Did you smell it? Oh my God. Okay. Here's Florida Democrats showing us what it's like to be an adult. They're walking down the hall shouting gay. Great point. Noted. So brave and beautiful. God, I just can't. I can't stand politicians so much. They're just so full of it. Gay, gay, gay. My daughter's. Who cares? Do you ever just want to not hear something after you hear something? Okay. Here we go. This is why I do not believe anything Biden says when he wants to lower gas prices, because of this right here.
But kiddo, I want you to just take a look, okay? You don't have to agree. But I want you to look in my eyes. I guarantee you, we're going to end fossil fuel, and I am not going to cooperate.
He's doing everything he can to lower the gas prices. He cares about what you're paying at the pump. He's not excited about the gas prices at all. I just can't with these people. Oh, God. I can't believe this person is our vice president. I don't know if you guys heard this video clip today.
Imagine a future.
Imagine all the people.
Freight trucks that
imagine freight trucks
deliver bread and milk to our
bread and milk because I'm from the 1950s and that's what I eat every day.
Our grocery store shelves and the buses that take children to school and parents to work. Imagine all the heavy-duty vehicles that
her way of words just puts it out so vivid for me.
keep our supply lines strong and allow our economy to grow. Imagine,
oh,
that they produced zero emissions.
You're producing zero emissions and Biden's ending cancer. You guys are two peas in a pod.
Well, you all imagined it.
I did.
That's why we're here today. Because we have the ability to see what can be, unburdened by what has been, and then to make the possible
impossible
actually happen.
Oh. God, I love how genuine she is. God, getting nuked doesn't count as ending fossil fuels. I know. It certainly seems like that's where we're going. Oh, there's me. Okay. And then this clip. This clip from Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg is the only transportation secretary who seems to be wanting to run for president because before him being in office, I didn't give a crap about what a transportation secretary had to say.
Clean transportation can bring significant cost savings for the American people as well. Last month, we announced a $5 billion investment to build out a nationwide
$5 billion
electric vehicle charging network.
I'm so glad we're investing in green energy in the middle of World War III. It's such a good idea.
So the people from rural to suburban to urban communities can all benefit from the gas savings of driving an EV.
So much gas savings. Even though if you're too broke to buy a gas-saving EV, then you're not going to get any gas savings. But I guess you could just go into debt. But thank God you're saving gas money if you're in debt with your green car that you have to pay to buy new batteries for eventually. It's such... God, I just can't hang with these people sometimes. All right, that's enough from me. Let's see what's going on in the world.
Prices sending gas prices soaring to a new record high, over $4 a gallon. How much higher could it go? Also tonight, tracking the severe
Sky's
storm
the limit
on the East Coast.
All right, freaking Lester
Academy and sat down with the talented Kelly Rowland.
Oh, God, gross.
Ukrainian, but
Cammy suffers from having power yet having average intelligence. That's very kind of you. So she speaks as though her audience is stupid. It's her character flaw. Yeah, I know. She's the most... Kamala Harris, I think, might be the most disingenuous politician I've ever seen in my life. Like, I can't picture somebody who's worse.
minimize Ukrainian blood and Ukrainian lives. Please do that immediately.
The former president took us to see another residential area which had been hit. Ukraine's heading for many more civilian deaths, he's warning, and there are few in the country confident enough to say otherwise right now. Alex Crawford, Sky News in Vasilkiv.
Well, the UN's refugee agency says more.
Maybe she has like a birth defect, and I feel like a total jerk for saying that.
Romania hotels once accommodating holiday.
Let's see what I want to see what this clip's about.
Do you see a resolution anytime soon between these two?
She makes Dan Quayle look like a
two warring countries, or do you think this drags on for months? Because this is costing Putin significantly. I suppose that's the second part of my question, which is how real is the cost?
I love Charlie Kirk in his little hat, got a little American flag hat, show he's a conservative.
Cost of Putin, because is he starting to feel pressure domestically and economically?
Also, can we talk about Charlie Kirk's bend on that hat? I don't trust guys that make a triangle. I don't know about you. That is way too straight of a arrow.
To try to wrap this up.
The problem with theorizing that there's pressure on Putin to end the conflict is that it presupposes that the suffering that the Russian people are undergoing, that the economic cost in Russia is going to result in political opposition to Putin. And right now, the vast majority of the Russian people blame NATO and the West for this conflict. And in fact, they feel like they're under attack from sanctions. I know individuals within Russia who were frankly not that sympathetic to Putin, who've grown more sympathetic to Putin over the course of this war because they feel like Russian civilians are now being targeted with sanctions, as if there's an effort to make Russian civilians suffer so much that they will rise up against their own government, and they resent that. So in the short term, I think that President Putin's power within Russia is actually consolidating, and that he's growing stronger.
Same,
now,
beep, beep.
Obviously, if things drag on long enough, or if the economic crisis in Russia becomes significant enough that people can't put food on the table, then that would result in political instability. And I think that at that point, President Putin and his advisors would seek an end to the war. But that's not what we're seeing right now. The ruble has reached its lowest level, but it's not a level that's so low that it's causing political instability within Russia. And so right now, I think that the leadership of Russia within the Kremlin are prepared to weather this storm and continue prosecuting the war.
Of course they are. Oh, great question.
So talk to us about this group, separate fact from fiction, this Azov battalion group. It seems as if they're legitimate neo-Nazis. How large are they? What is their influence in Ukrainian?
Hell, there's Russian businesses being vandalized in the West. I know. No one's talking about the Russian businesses being vandalized. We're so quick to point out Islamophobia after 9/11, but as soon as after this war started, no one gives a crap about Russian businesses or any of that kind of phobias. It's okay for them because, well, it's not the narrative. They are ethnons who circle the way. Exactly.
In government. The American media is saying they're a small splinter group, which is weird because they never say that about small splinter groups here in America. They act as if they control entire political parties. But separate fact from fiction. Is this a real group, or is this some sort of just kind of outdated internet conspiracy? What's really going on with this Ukrainian paramilitary group?
Well, I've seen a lot of pictures of people, Ukrainian military people with Nazi symbols on them. So there's that. And then there's like mayors with reported Nazis in the background. I mean, can you say hate crime? Exactly.
The battalion is very real. I wouldn't even call them a paramilitary group. They're a full-fledged part of the Ukrainian military. They're currently ensconced primarily in the Mariupol region of Ukraine. They're surrounded by the Russians. They claim that they're not neo-Nazis, but if you look at their iconography, they have clear Nazi symbols on their uniforms. And there's been many photos of them where they're pictured with other Nazi symbols like the hooked cross, sometimes called the swastika. And so to claim that they aren't neo-Nazis or that they're not an important part of the Ukrainian military is, I think, unrealistic. President Zelenskyy has himself given awards to these individuals. He's appeared, on stage and given them military honors. And so that's part of why the Russians feel like the neo-Nazi element of the Ukrainian government has been downplayed. Now, I'm not calling Ukraine a neo-Nazi state. It has a Jewish president. And so it's important to understand that there can be real...
So many people are triggered by people like this who just say this. They're like, you're basically saying they're this way.
Contradictions here and strange bedfellows when power politics come into play. So there's an alliance between some Jewish Ukrainian oligarchs who are funding the very neo-Nazi elements within the Ukrainian government that Russia considers so dangerous. And so it's really the complexities of the region that we have to take into account before we dismiss all of this as a conspiracy theory.
Interesting. All right, I think I'm done with this. Rand freaking Paul. Let's see what's going on in the Twitterverse. Anything exciting? You want to know if a Republican has truly broken from Trump? Ask them, and only this question: if Donald Trump is in the 2024 nominee president, will you vote for him? If they say anything but no, they haven't broken from Trump. If in Ukrainian history, how did they fare under Stalin and Lenin? Yeah, they may have seen the 1940 Germans as liberators. Yeah, it's true. I think a lot of them probably did. I think there's that Bandera guy. There was some stuff. I don't really know too much about like that history, so I don't like to like pretend like I do. I'm not one of those people who just feel like because there's something going on in the world, I need to have a great educated answer for that. I think there's so many podcasts out there that are just so willing to just without actually knowing anything, just start spouting off stuff like they know stuff. So it's literally one of the most obnoxious things to me.
Our interview with President Zelenskyy.
I'll listen to him like, you don't know anything about that subject. What are you doing?
U.S. and NATO, what he says he needs most right now. And it comes amid a worsening scene across much of Ukraine these last 24 hours. Civilians coming under attack while trying to flee to safety. President Zelenskyy saying Kyiv and other cities are being bombarded. Tonight, those civilians under fire as they flee the violence. And we warn you, these images are difficult.
I think we already saw that. I'm going to finish this.
Venezuela. And a new nuclear deal with Iran could be wrapped up at any moment. The White House also saying no decision has been made on banning importing Russian oil. And Nikki Haley unloading on the Biden administration for funding Putin.
I love words like that. Just unloading. God, she like unloaded her whole clip. God.
War machine. Watch.
We need to start standing up. Why are we even ho-humming around the fact that we're still taking Russian oil? Why are we doing that? Why would we take money from evil dictators? You never sleep with the devil because then the devil owns you. The Europeans are finding that out right now. We need to be smarter than that.
We'd be really smart if we just opened up Anwar in Alaska. Boom, case closed.
Boom, roasted.
You were mentioning the Iran deal. That's now on the ropes because, you know, Russia's now saying, hey, you need us on this. And they want oil from the Iranians. Where's that money go?
Well, put it this way. With Russia's help, we might be able to get the Iran deal we never wanted. And Gary Kasparov said it perfectly. Who knows Vladimir Putin was exiled because of him. He said, wait a second, what do you think Vladimir Putin thinks?
Hey, Beep Beep, what do you want to watch? Oh,
this is the...
I know, Lady Neo. Yeah, Nikki Haley's the worst.
The country that's helping us out is indirectly or directly targeting nuclear power plants in the Ukraine while threatening nuclear war on us if we do X, Y, and Z. Now we need Sergei Lavrov to go in there and convince Iran to act as irresponsible as they are with nuclear weapons should they get them. So to cut a deal that nobody wants, and Dan, I know you know this, Senator Ben Cardin voted against the 2015 deal. Senator Schumer voted against the deal. Senator Menendez voted against the deal. That's the 2015 deal when you had to go into military base. You were not allowed on military bases.
Okay, I can't take these people that long. I want to hear what a boomer has to say.
Paul, how are you this morning?
Doing fine, thank
Good.
you.
All right.
Well, I think we should...
It's boob o'clock.
Talk a little bit about that little old war that could be a big old war if people aren't careful.
Yeah.
He's such a boomer. I love him.
You know, we're still in a minority. I don't know if you know that or not. Believing in a constitutional, non-interventionist foreign policy that advised, the founders advised, stay out of entangling alliances.
He's basically pro-Putin with that kind of language.
And our country would be better off. So we're in a minority. At least it appears that way. But when I talk to people, it seems like it's a pretty popular position, you know.
And I talk to my neighbor and I ask him, what's going on? And they say, you're doing great. Shows construction of North Korea's nuclear testing site for the first time since it was closed in 2018. Dope. So thankful that North Korea decides to ramp it up. Such a good time. Oh, no.
Also, yeah.
What's your favorite curse word?
I actually do cuss a little.
Do you?
Also, yeah.
What's your favorite curse word?
Probably fuck.
Oh, my God. Don't say that. God, what the frick? This is one of the only leftist accounts that I enjoy following. I have to admit, it's pretty awesome how Glenn Greenwald has made Dave Rubin completely irrelevant by taking his grift and doing it better. That's rude. God. I don't understand why leftists is so obsessed with grifting. Like, you can't change your opinion ever. You have to just be the same person always.
During a visit to Lithuania, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken sought to reassure Washington's Baltic allies, where fear is mounting that Russian President Vladimir Putin will not stop at Ukraine in trying to redraw the borders of Europe.
He is so correct. I know. I love him.
Blinken spent the weekend in Ukraine's neighbors, Poland and Moldova, and on Monday visited...
Not Blinken. I think we're talking about Randy.
Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, NATO members that were once ruled from Moscow. Lithuanian President Gitanas Nausėda warned that Russia's reckless aggression could lead to a third world war.
We need forward defense here in place because otherwise it will be too late.
Can we talk about how everyone on this table is wearing a mask except for the two people talking, Blinken and this dude? It's about the science, guys, all right? You need to get over yourself. They're following the CDC recommendation.
Mr. Secretary, Putin will not stop.
Dude, Ron Paul 2024, I freaking wish.
In Ukraine if he will not be stopped.
We could do Ron Paul, Rand Paul 2024, so if Ron ever kicks the bucket, Rand could just take over.
It is our collective duty and obligation to help heroic Ukrainians with all means available.
Blinken also met with Latvia's Foreign Minister Edgars Rinkevičs, as well as the Prime Minister and President. Rinkevičs called for a permanent presence of U.S. troops in the country.
We think that it's essential, looking at the most recent developments, that NATO forces have a permanent presence because we have no illusions about Putin's Russia anymore. We don't really see any good reason to assume Russia might change its policy.
Blinken assured allies that NATO was continuously reviewing its defense posture, including by looking at more permanent deployments, invoking NATO's Article 5 guarantee of mutual defense between member states.
The United States' commitment to Article 5, an attack on one is an attack on all, that commitment is sacrosanct. And as President Biden repeated to the American people in his State of the Union address just a few days ago.
Is it me, or does Anthony Blinken look like a guy that smokes about a pack a day? I just get that vibe from him. All right, I'm going to go back to Daddy Ronnie. I want to hear what he has to say. Let's see if there's any new updates. Yeah, we looked at that constitutional thing. All right.
Most people don't want to send our kids over there and fight that war. I don't know why they should be wanting to send any money over there. And sometimes they get very confused because right now
the One Belt Road is interesting and not followed much. Nope, it's definitely not. Hey, let me ask you a question. I started making these T-shirts. Is this something you would ever buy? I'm not saying you have to. I started making ginger power T-shirts for. I'm trying to find like some swag or something to buy, and I think I would actually wear this shirt. Just let me know. You're the only person in my chat, so you get the exclusive take. We watched that.
They think the war has to be fought, you know, with sanctions and punishing the people who produce oil. And one of the problems we have are rising prices. That's what the American people are most concerned about right now. It is related to war, there's no doubt, but it's certainly related to doing things we shouldn't be doing, spending money we don't have, and printing the money. Today I want to...
How dare you spread that kind of totally accurate information?
Do something a little bit differently.
It needs to be red. Yeah, I think like it should come in like different colors. I think there's a red size. Yeah. Oh, that red is fire. Good call. Or black with red. So I was trying to do like orange lettering because it's ginger. I don't know. I just thought it was funny, like last stream I did where everyone just started yelling ginger power at the end. Oh, that's pretty good too. I'm just toying with the idea. I appreciate you.
And that is assuming that I had that call I told you about last night, you know. Biden called me, you know, he said, you know, you guys are doing a pretty good job and you're getting a little attention and we know you have support out there, but would you mind coming over to the White House and giving me a little...
Dude, burnt orange. Oh, yeah, good call. Okay, yeah, I'm for that. Good idea. Great
Well,
idea.
update on what you think.
No way. Biden asked Ron Paul to come over?
I had that call I told you about last night, Biden called me, he said, you guys are doing a pretty good job and you're getting a little attention and we know you have support out there, but would you mind coming over to the White House and giving me a little update on what you think? And I said, well, let me check with Daniel.
Why is that guy laughing?
I don't know whether he'll want to come over or not. but anyway, we'll sort of talk about if some
I can't tell if that was a joke or not.
freakish thing would happen like that they would say, maybe we should consider what you're talking about.
Okay,
Sometimes I think there are people who would maybe come around to accepting non-intervention, never brag about change of their minds. We only had 1 or 2 people ever did that. They just go, and maybe they'll change their tune. They've changed their tune on on COVID. Just think of the activity going on with.
How old is Ron Paul? Ron Paul age. God. 86. He's 7 years older than Biden, and he sounds way. God. He sounds like he has his mind intact. I'm just so glad Democrats decided to vote for Biden to be in office. Just so thankful.
I think it's really.
They're so smart and they're choosing who to put forth for us.
Us and many others, and attitudes change.
Biden is trying to fake pivot. His soda was a MAGA. It was totally MAGA themed. He totally stole so much things that Trump has said before and that used to be called racist. I couldn't believe he even mentioned the word border security. What an absolute joke. I can't believe people actually think he's serious too. And then also funding the police. It's just so many things. It's like now that all those unvaccinated police officers left, maybe we'll start funding the police because now we got the right people in the office.
And that could be in foreign policy too. So I don't work with a negative assumption that, we just did a poll and only 4% of the people agree with total non-intervention in your foreign policy. Why don't you just forget about it? But if we had a chance to go in and talk to the president, and the president was very sincere, and he no antenna.
Poor Ron. No one ever listened to Ron when he was big. Not enough people. Azov Battalion after watching the Vosh debate. God. Do you ever follow Vosh or any of those people? Beep beep. I'm curious. I try to engage in more leftist ideology just because it's different, just to see, but most of it is just silly to me. Because I don't trust the government, and I don't understand how they do. It doesn't make any sense to me. 82% of Ukrainians believe they will repel Russia. That's so much false hope. All right. Let's see what else is going on. Austin, Denver, Chicago.
Antagonism, and it sounded like he was truly asking a question for him to understand what is.
I watched the kill streams,
going on, and I would say to the president that
sometimes I'll watch this song every once in a while, but I don't know. He's got okay stuff, but half the time it's just like him saying something is so effing stupid. I just get so bored of that. It's just I like seeing the fringe debate blood sports. Yeah, that is kind of fun.
One of my points that I like to make, I think you have to look at the history and know what's happening. And the Middle East, it was too bad that we didn't know our history. But even in these circumstances in Ukraine, we should know about the history. And I would, mention that from our viewpoint, NATO's a major problem, and there's so much dependency on NATO, and NATO runs things, and yet NATO, as far as I'm concerned, has caused so much of our problems. To me, it is the epitome of an entangled alliance, and it's.
God, this guy speaks facts. Do you have a source for that, Vosh? I think it's just a joke. Oh, do you have a source for that, Vosh? Yeah. That's Vosh in a nutshell. What's your source? Okay. Don't you love how like these these shows that are like have millions of dollars that push it in front of your face has to promote tweets because there's not enough engagement because no one gives a crap what they have to say. It's like, why don't you check it out? It's weird how like I don't feel like the war is slowing down, but yet if you look at the news, it feels that way. Germany will finally said they will put in their 2% for the military. God, where did you see that? Would that happen today?
It inspires and it still matters. To cover it, you have to be in it, and that's what we're gonna do.
Don't trust the minimum NATO for any of the for the first time. Good.
From all over the world.
I'm tired of fitting the bill.
In prime time and streaming live, it's your news playlist every night.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
I think Ron Paul's spot on about
continuing.
NATO.
Here, for instance, Daniel, here's a headline for today. It said NATO seeking more permanent troop deployments to the Baltics, and Blinken tells Lithuania and others over there. So this is not recognizing that NATO might be a problem.
Yeah.
And we think it's a big problem. There's other people you could blame too, like allowing that to happen and not listening to Senator Robert Taft and staying out of these alliances. But they're talking about sending more troops, and the war may end quickly. Who knows? But it might continue to go on for a long time, and it might further expand. But my argument and my plea,
I think you and I both agree tonight that I don't see this war slowing down. I just don't. I what indication has been of any of it slowing down at all? NATO's a group of broke friends. The U.S. exactly. Yeah, they're like a bunch of broke friends at a bar, and they're just like, "Hey, can you spot me one more time?" And you're like, "I spotted you last week." And you're like, "Yeah, but you know the way my bank account works and my job situation right now. I just can't fit the bill. More cheap than broke." Exactly. They're like, well, we got so many other social programs we got to run. We don't want to put money up to the military.
Is that people understand better how this mess started. And it didn't just start yesterday, even though we talk about 2014 a lot when we, the United States, participated in a coup of getting rid of a democratically elected leader. This has been going on for a while. Matter of fact, you could say some of the bad spots in the world have been there ever since NATO was created. And of course, it wasn't too long ago we brought up the subject that it wasn't a long time after NATO was passed in '49 that they were involved in the Korean War.
Yeah.
Exactly. My question is, have they given any oodles or javelins? We're gonna have to restock. With chip shortages. I know. I just saw that like ammunition companies here in America are sending off ammunitions and stuff like that. We're just so willing to give up all our arms when at the same time we're about to fight World War III. Like, I don't get it.
Here, the aid is transferred to Polish volunteers for the final leg into Ukraine. An exhausted team can now start the long haul home. By the time they reach Berlin, their cargo is already in Kiev.
It's absolutely incredible. And for our community, they've done what they've done. We should all be proud. And we should all realise what can be achieved when we all come together.
By the scale of the war's...
What can be achieved?
Like much. But Paul and his team know they've done everything they can. Stephen Murphy, Sky News.
Now for a look at the morning's papers in the press preview with Anna Botting.
The press preview. Well,
changes, the things we do. And now everything has changed for them. Their country is being dismantled, and so is a piece of our world and security. Maybe the one thing we cannot afford to be at this moment in history is mere spectators. Instead, we have the power to be witnesses. And you can trust we will continue to tell this story.
I love how self-righteous journalism feels like they are, or who they are. It's just so silly. I haven't seen Remington 545 or 726. It makes sense. I haven't seen that either. I actually haven't bought ammo in a little while. I restocked a ton for no firearms. There's
no better place.
I restocked a ton over the summer.
Quality time with your little golf buddy, or an afternoon alone.
Because I knew this was going to happen. I'm just kidding.
So that would be my main point to the president, is to tell him, pay attention. And maybe NATO is not your friend. Maybe NATO is not a friend of liberty. Maybe NATO has to be looked at from
Biden doesn't care about liberty. I mean, what?
A national security effort. Maybe we would be more secure, not less secure. When you think of the death and destruction, especially since World War II, NATO had a lot to do with that. So,
well, it's been fun. Beep Beep, I appreciate you so much for sticking with me the entire time. It always means so much to me that you do. Yeah. You're an amazing human being, and don't let anybody tell you anything different. Hope you have a good rest of your night. I'll probably have some stuff out tomorrow, and look out for that. And then Wednesday, I go live again. But I appreciate you so much. Here's my little commercial I'm going to end it with. But I appreciate you hanging out with me, man. Have a good night.
My fellow Americans, it's me, Joe Byron. Make sure to support Derek O'Shea by going to buymeacoffee.com/Derek O'Shea. Easily one of my least favorite YouTubers of all time. And all you have to do is go down here, buy him a coffee, support his show, or even join as a member. $3 a month, that's all it costs. And you could be a big time supporter of his show. He's a good guy, but he's a piece of crap, and I hate him for that. I hope you have a great day, and as always, let's go get ice cream, and I need to get my sniff on.